So today's mission is we have a 35 by approximately 25 foot area. This gentleman usually parks his motorhome right here, and he's having a 12 foot wide by 30 foot long carport delivered here in I think a couple weeks or so. Anyway, they requested that it be level within 2 inches. So he called us and stuff, so we got the Yanmar out here with the Sitech grading system on it. Got our Spectra laser set up, zero slope, just set up to be level. So what I'm doing first is we're just scraping off all of the sod and everything as best we can. That all is going to get thrown up here by where this tree was removed from, and then at that point we will start to actually grade all this out. So rule number 1, don't get close to shit. So for doing that edge along the shop, we're just going to stay about 6 inches to a foot away. I feel plenty comfortable doing that. So we'll do that the whole way back to this first bay basically, and then at that point we will start to level this whole thing off. So customer said he's got about a foot or so 5/8 minus all hidden under here, so shouldn't have to bring in any material at all, but if we do, we'll address that later. But got all the foliage scraped off and everything back there by that back retaining wall. There was a big pile of gravel, so we were able to steal a bunch of gravel from there and just kind of spread it out over everything. Like I said, after we got rid of all the foliage and stuff, and it's all dumped up there. So backbladed that, kind of got it just roughly smooth-ish. You know, mainly wanted just to get an area lined out for where this RV cover is going to sit. So it's going to be, what is it, it's 12 by 30, so this area is like 34 by 14 or so. So, you know, just want to make sure it's plenty big. Now we're going to figure out what the approximate grade is that we should shoot for. You know, basically we'll measure probably 3 spots wide, and then probably 4 spots along the length of it, right? So you'll do 4 here, 4 down the middle, and 4 along that side. Take the average height of that, and then I'll probably go down about a ½ inch or so, and that will be the grade that we're going to shoot for, and that'll be the grade that we'll set up on the grade stick and what we will set up on the excavator computer. So that's what I'll be doing now. That's kind of how you roughly figure out, at least that's how one way that I figure out what the grade should be when you have an area like this and you just need to level it out, right? It's a lot easier when you can just haul in a bunch of material or just dig down to an arbitrary depth or build up to an arbitrary height. But when you have kind of a given area like this, it's, you know, kind of a challenge on how do you figure out what height you shoot for. So that's just how I shoot for it. First corner was 0. That is 1.3. So there you can see all 12 heights. Basically, if it was low and it needs to come up, I called it a negative height. You know, and if it's high, then it's a positive height. And if it's grade, it's 0. So as you can see, obviously at the beginning, where I zeroed it out, that's grade, right? Then there was actually one other spot in there that happened to be grade as well. So now we'll take the average of these numbers, and then we will go from there. So overall, it is, what is that, 3/8 of an inch, right? Yeah, 3/8 of an inch is the overall average height. It is low compared to grade, right? Grade was this front corner right back here that I measured. So I'm gonna basically drop the height down. I'll probably just aim for about a 1/2 inch low. You know, overall, I'll zero out. I'll call this front corner right over here. I'll call this front corner, you know, basically I'll take it down a 1/2 inch and I'll call that grade, you know, and then from there we'll make the rest of it basically match. So they wanted us to shoot for within plus or minus 2 inches, which we're already well within that, but we can do better. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, you're within about 1.6 right now. We're gonna go better. I mean, obviously, don't mind the high spots. The obvious ruts. So right here where I just painted that dot, that's where I'm going to zero out the machine. And then we will start down there at that far end. We're going to work our way all the way out here to the front. Alright, so here in the cab, maybe that's better, sorry about the audio. So if you look really closely, right underneath the center of my bucket is that white dot that we painted. That's what we're going to call grade, right? So like that's where we zero everything out at. So in the Sitech Trimble Earthworks system, you can see that just from when I just started it up, right, it's saying we're 1.5 inches too high. So we're going to zero it out right here, right? Now, okay, 1/2 inch low, move it up, just because the bucket's settling, or I should say the ground. Okay, now if I set this on there, right, boom, grade. So, it's on there. Now, because when we track the machine, it doesn't know if we go up some kind of an incline, right? So the way the machine knows what elevation it's at is based on the rotating laser up there on the tripod. So the next thing we need to do is we have to sync the machine to that laser. So if you probably can't see it, but on the side of the boom right there, there's a little red reflector looking thing. That is what will pick up the signal from the laser stuff, and that is what will tell the machine what elevation it is sitting at, right? So the machine will know what elevation it is sitting at, and then the machine also knows what elevation the bucket is at relative to itself. There it goes. So just got it. All right, now I always start at my far end and I work all the way out. Kind of like, imagine if you were like cleaning a floor or painting a floor or something like that, right? Like you want to start at the far end and kind of like work your way out. All right, so I just forgot. So all I did was I just tracked down to the end of the pad, so not very far, right? So because I moved the machine, now what I need to do is I need to catch the laser again so that the machine will know what elevation it's at. Then I'll be ready to start digging. Right? So there it goes. Just got it. Right? And it says we're about 3 inches too high from grade, which as I look at the height of my bucket, kind of makes about sense. It does. Right, so right there it says we're about 2 inches high from our grade we're shooting for, which I don't know if you probably can't see it, but it is about 2 inches or so underneath the bucket, and that's basically, this corner was actually really close to grade. It was, I think it was like within 1/4 inch or so, which is plenty good for dealing with dirt. So now we're going to start, I'm going to work this in 2 halves. Basically I'm going to work this right half and then I'll go and do the left half. Just makes it a lot easier just pulling straight towards yourself as opposed to like having to pull at angles and stuff like that and trying to sweep it. Just makes it a little easier, so that's how I'm gonna do it. All right, now here we go. Alright, so here we are, all done. All graded out. It's kind of hard to see with the sun there. Oh, there, it's a little better. So we are, I found one spot that was 1.2 inches out. So they wanted plus or minus 2 inches, which is a 4-inch range. And we are